Alright, you beautiful peoples of the internet, Glyn here. Keepscape Gaming News and Tech Reviews, and we've got a little look, let me just pause it, little look at the new gameplay demo for Gran Turismo Sport. So I thought we'd go through it, we'll have a few little zoom-ins on it, and we'll check out that I believe it doesn't have ray tracing while you're playing the game, and I'll sort of show you some examples of that. So I'm just going to play the video so you can see now, just on the right. I'm going to look at the screen now so we can see now. Here it is. It's all set from the driver's perspective, or driver view, or first person view, where you can see his hand, that thing, and his gloves and all that. Now, one thing I'd like to point out, the lighting looks quite nice on here. You can see some bloom effects coming off the corners of the cars, that sort of thing. Right, I'm going to pause it down here because we're going to take a closer look at this next section coming up. Right, here we go. So bear with me while I just zoom in here. It's take me a little bit of time just to zoom this in. I'm going to slow down the speed of this video as well, so I may need to, let me just check where we are. Okay, we're going to slow this down to basically 1/20th speed. Now fortunately, when they put the demo up, they put it at 4K 60. So let me OK that. Let me drag this back to where we were, which is about here, about there. Might be a little bit forward. Here, there we go. We'll start from here. So if we take close attention to, let me zoom in a little bit more. Right, so we've got a massive zoom here, but the back of this car, so we're looking at the back of this Toyota, I think it's a Supra. You can definitely see there, I'm going to try and move the screen up into the middle, but there's definitely no car in the reflection. And there's a few other things going on that are quite strange on this as well. I think it might be using planar reflections, definitely not using ray tracing, as we would see, especially at this point, we would see the car that's been driven in the back of this car, and you can definitely see here now, got quite a good zoom in on here, but there's nothing being shown on the back of this car. So that's a little bit of a disappointment, especially as the original video they put out had that, I'll try and put it up actually, the car, the back of the lorry opening up with the mirrored sides, and you could see the reflections of the vehicles in all the sides, but obviously that doesn't appear while you're playing the game. Now when his hand moves out the way here, you get a really good view off the back of this car. So we'll just wait for that to happen. And yeah, there's definitely nothing going on. If we look at the car to the right here, the reflections aren't even moving on that at the minute. Yeah, not good. So as we come into this tunnel now, are we seeing proper global illumination? I'm going to pause it here. Let's have a little look. You can see the light sources are bouncing to the wall. You can see, you won't be able to see my cursor, but essentially I'm pointing out below each of the light sources there. There's a lighter patch on the wall. Same with the other side. Right, we'll leave it play a little bit further. And what I'm trying to look out for now is, are we getting like a greening down here? If this is global illumination, you would see maybe like a little bit of red spill or green spill onto the road. Sort of like real-time ambient occlusion, but can't seem to see that in here. We're coming up to this tunnel here, and I found this quite interesting, and this would be a good spot here for if we're getting sort of ray trace global illumination or ambient occlusion. I'm without doubt that it's using real-time lighting, and it should be dynamic lighting as well. So I want to see here, do we get like a red reflection coming up on the wall? Now don't forget I'm massively zoomed in here. Let's get ready to pause it. Now there is some sort of spotting going on here, but I think it might be the actual windscreen of the car. I would have preferred this if this demo was outside of the car. We would have been able to see a little bit more. But I'm paying careful attention to the top of the roof. If I put it right underneath me, the top of the roof of the cave. I'm going to bring it back to the middle. And let's have a little watch. Yeah, it's quite interesting, and there's definitely... I love the bloom on this part. Well, let me just pause it. The bloom here, and the way it's reflecting up here, and the way the cave's all brightened out now, that definitely seems like we're using real-time global illumination here. You can see a shadowing. We look at the pillars. Unfortunately, I can't make it so you can see my cursor for this, but that's a shame, because I'm trying to point out stuff, but the cursor. What I might do is add something in here instead, so I can use it to point. Yeah, that's nice. The lighting definitely looks well improved. But we would expect to see sort of shaft of reds and greens coming up if it was using proper ray traced ambient occlusion. Can't really see it on any of the pillars to the left of the red car in front. So one thing I have noticed is that on the old Gran Turismo, in the foreground here where you can see the red and white barriers, there was some sort of weird shadowing effects coming on. Basically it was a LOD, loading of details, were very visible on the original Gran Turismo demo that they released last year. Well, not demo, but video. But this one, they seem to have sorted out that. There's very little loading of detail that I can see within the game. And I'm massively zoomed in here. I'm far more than 400%. So that's quite nice. Nice clean look to it. We've got some real-time grass, looks like, on the sides. Just to show you how much I'm zoomed in, that's just the map at the top of the screen, which is normally a tiny little icon. Looks like all the dials and stuff are working properly within the car. Now, did I just see a little bit of pop in there on this little, on the bank in the background, the trees and the bank? Let me just bring it back a little bit and go through that section again. Keep an eye on the green grass at the back there, just behind the chain link fence. Yeah, there was something popped in and out then. I'm not sure what was going on, if that was a graphical glitch or still needs a little bit of cleaning up. It was only for one frame though. You can see a little bit in the middle of the screen here. You can see how the shadows just appeared. There was a loading of detail on that. Nice to see the little marbles on the floor as well. Just turn to this corner. I don't think there's much else to see here. We'll take a look at the crowd as well. There's quite a heavy use of motion blur and effect as well, but that could be the YouTube, as I've recorded the video straight off YouTube. I have recorded it in 4K format. So we're not getting a pure representation here, because obviously it's come from YouTube themselves. Well, yeah, the crowd is looking pretty good. Would it be nice if they'd put a little Easter egg somewhere in the game? Yeah, it definitely says play has no limits. I have to admit, the backgrounds look really nice. You can see little towns and cities in the background here. Kind of gives it a sort of Switzerland look, I would say. I'm not sure officially where it says in game where the map is supposed to be held, but definitely got an Austria type Switzerland aesthetic to the game. Trees are looking good. Bushes, nothing too repetitive. Interesting, the bush is hanging in front of the barrier here. And down there as well. The way the sunlight is glinting off the top of the trees, giving that like little green glow. Trying to work out where the sun is in this picture here. It must be behind us. Judging by the shadows, it's to the right, off screen. Well, yeah, there's a little breakdown, a little look at Gran Turismo 7 running on, I'm assuming this is running on PlayStation 5. It's a 4K 60 output. Let me just bring it all the way back down. You can see how much I had the game zoomed in. There we go, that's normal size. So as you can see, I had it zoomed in to about here, so nearly 800% at some point. Well, there is a little bit I want to check out here actually. Like I was saying about the loading of details, if we look at the red and white barriers, you can see that the shadows aren't suddenly appearing as we're getting closer now. They have sorted that out from the original demo. Right, so that has been a little breakdown, a little bit of a close-up, a little closer look at Gran Turismo 7 on PS5. Thank you for joining me. I'm Glyn. This has been Cheapsake Gaming News and Tech Reviews, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye now.